Hello, I'm going to show the next code, and this is a substitution cipher, and you can really substitute any kind of symbol or number for this, and I'm going to be reading out of this book, Top Secret, a handbook for code, ciphers, and secret writing. And so for the substitution ciphers in history, they're going to give us two different examples, and then I'm going to show one that my class and I will be building. So this substitution cipher was attributed to Charlemagne, who ruled in the 8th and 9th centuries. He relied on this substitution cipher when he communicated with his generals spread across his vast kingdom. And so you can see all these different symbols that he uses, and they have a little note down here that there was no J, V, or W in here, and that's because they weren't part of the alphabet back then. And then another example that we have is another European ruler used a substitution cipher was Mary Queen of Scots. In fact, it was the discovery and deciphering of this system by her enemies that caused her to lose her head to the executioner when she was convicted of plotting to overthrow Queen Elizabeth. And you can see that they're using different letters and symbols to replace or to substitute for the original letters. And it says, Sir Francis Walsingham, Elizabeth's master spy, tricked Mary into putting her intentions in writing, which he later used against her. So two really interesting examples from history. And so as we're studying the American Revolution, as we're looking at different ways that messages would be passed back and forth, usually I have my students make up their own substitution cipher. And so I wanted to just give you an example. And so you could, of course, use numbers or different letters to do it, but what I want to do is make up some symbols. And so I'm going to make some pretty basic symbols. So I'm going to make A be a heart, maybe B would be a smiley face, and so on. I'm going to keep going until I have all of my substitutions for my letters. And my students are usually so creative, and so it's just kind of fun being able to make up your own substitution cipher. And I think maybe I'll try to do like a little paw, get a little animal paw for one. And ooh, I love coffee, so maybe I'll put a little cup of coffee there. And this is a really simple activity that can get students really thinking about how you want your code to be, easy for you to make, but also not so easy that your enemies could figure out the code. And it gets, you can make this an art project as well, make it a little more complicated, and it's really fun to have students go ahead and have their partners try to break their codes or just translate them, and it just gets a lot of those critical thinking skills to be involved there. So I'm going to keep decorating mine later, but what I might do is I might just, I like to use names as the example for the first time, and so I'm going to go ahead and just very quickly make some really basic symbols that I could then use for this. And I'm going to just go ahead and make the Y, because in my name I'm going to need a Y. And so maybe I'm going to have maybe like a little kitty ear in there. Okay, so if we were going to write with our code, and I'm going to write my name, I would want to have my last name. I would have D-A-I-L-E-Y. And then I would look up and I would substitute those letters for what the symbols are. So for my D, I have that circle with a line through it. For my A, I have a heart. For my I have those 3 horizontal lines. My L, I have a square. My E, I have that dog or cat paw. And then my Y, I made the little kitty ear. So you can see how, if you were not able to see, let me go ahead and cover up that, but that would be a really interesting thing to see on a piece of paper, and that code would be a little tricky for someone to go ahead and decipher. So go ahead and, if you want, you can create your own substitution cipher, and it's pretty fun. And if you have a friend or a family member that you want to try to figure out your code, it's fun to play around with that. So I hope you guys enjoyed our substitution cipher today, and I'll see you later. Bye!